even though the new pentakill was finally released, and the conclusion of this really awesome story should arrive. When it comes to the lore, the day I am recording this, we didn't get anything just yet. So just to be safe, let's wait a bit before we cover it. And let's go back to Legends of Runeterra. Specifically today, we will have a look at Nami, who doesn't give us too much new info when it comes to the lore surrounding her, but these cards are a great reminder of her story, as well as a nice addition to the details surrounding her quest. And so, without further ado, let's have a look at how Nami's quest is going. Before we talk about what Nami is doing, why Nami is doing it, and what's the story told in Legends of Runeterra, first let's have a look at the side characters. First of all, obviously all of these will be the Marai. This is a Vastayan tribe who found their home east of Mount Targon. So yes, technically Nami should be with Targon. The Marai have a really deep connection with them. So all of these were placed into Bilgewater just for gameplay. They are far more Targonian. The first one we have here is the Marai SONGSTRESS. She's the one who sings Nami's theme in-game. And that could be why she's themed after Nami's spirit skin. That's the singing one. And in this art I would like to point out this fish. That's all I wanted to say. The description is a verse from the Serenade for the Tidecaller. The ocean believes that the wave will return. Give trust to the ebb, to the flow, to the churn. So ere wave crashes against the shore, the ocean delights in the crest's bold roar. And as a fun fact, the name of this specific Marai is Tama. Then there is the Warden, who is called Isla. The Marai rarely desire to venture far from home, but Isla was born with curiosity in her heart. And though she is bound by duty to her tribe, she spends each waking moment dreaming of the day she can truly be free. The really interesting thing here is the fact that she has feet. So this confirms that the Marai are not just one pure species. There are many kinds of the Marai. Some have feet and some don't. So the Vastayan evolution tree should branch out further. Then there is the journeying Sandhopper, who's really just there to help the ocean life. Here we can see him rescuing the poor narwhal which the pirates were hunting. But in the description, he's talking about the landwalkers hunting the Marai. Sure, a few of them hunt us, like they hunt everything. But you know, most landwalkers I meet are just looking to enjoy their time in the big blue. Same as us. We're all just people. I like how bright-minded this guy is. Most other species sees humans as aggressive plague. Then there is Fleet Admiral SHELLY. You know, one of those turtles who just pretends to be at war, even though they are actually at war, so he's not really helping. And then there is an ocean Yordle, the shark trainer. The trainer's routine is the same each night. Fish and ale for supper, a quick puff of his bubble pipe, followed by kisses on snouts and a story for his sharks before bedtime. Now here's the thing, some people may see this Yordle as undermining of Fizz's lore. Fizz is supposed to be the last survivor of his tribe, which means that this guy shouldn't exist. But the circumstances make it possible. There are two ways how this Yordle can work. Since ocean Yordles are a thing, and in fact ocean Yordles are one of the oldest Yordles on Runeterra, we can assume that some Yordles evolved from their oceanic types. We can assume that some Yordles evolved from their oceanic ancestors. So Fizz's tribe was probably not the only one that was in the oceans. But the other reason why this could work is Fizz's lore on its own. There we learned that one day Fizz just went out for his own little adventures, and then when he came back, his tribe vanished. But we didn't get any details on how that happened. So it is simply possible that there are more survivors. Fizz just doesn't know about them. And in the card connected to this, we just have the Conchologist, which is in all the other Yordle cards, describe his experience with the ocean life. We can see it is not going too well. By the way, right now, in-game, this image is bugged. That's why it looks grainy. So that's it for the side characters. Now, let's have a look at the main story. In case you forgot, Nami's story is very simple. The Marai live next to Mount Targon, but also very close to a Void Rift. So they are constantly being attacked by the Voidborn. However, they found a way to defend themselves. The Targonians offered them a moonstone. This is a relic that repels the Voidborn, and that item alone is the reason why the Marai survive right next to a Void Rift. The issue is that over time the power of the Moonstone gets depleted, and so it needs to be recharged. Of course, the representatives of the Moon on Targon can recharge it, but they can do it in exchange for an Abyssal Peril. An Abyssal Peril is probably a simple peril that is being tainted by the power of the Void. We don't have too much info on that item specifically, but for the first time ever, in these cards we will be able to see it. Now, because in Nami's lore, the first time she ever dove down to the Void Rift, she wasn't the Tidecaller, which you can tell because she didn't have her crown and she did not have the staff of the Tidecaller yet. Because in these cards she has all of that, all of this is happening in the present days when Nami is already the Tidecaller. So what you are about to witness is one of the days when the Moonstone needs to get a recharge. This little quest starts with Nami's level 1. Here we can see her talking to the Greatmother before she ventures out, and she's most likely doing it to get her blessings. The description says, "Have you said your goodbyes, young Tidecaller?" "Yes, Greatmother." "Are you afraid?" "Yes, Greatmother." "Good. To be afraid is to be cautious, but trust yourself as we trust you. Now go, and may the currents keep you." We can see her venturing out in the card Avatar of the Tides. This card describes the creature on which Nami is riding. It is called the Leolay. To the Marai, the Leolay is a herald of great change. It is said each flourish of its graceful wings influences the flow of the tides. I'll be honest, the Leolay looks really creepy. Also, at the bottom you can see Ayla. After a while, Nami then arrives at her destination to pick up the Abyssal Peril. That's what we can see here. And in front of her we can see the Abyssal Guardian, who's called Lodo. Many of our tribe find Lodo somewhat unnerving. They see only a tireless fighter, and the distance in his troubled gaze. But I know what's truly in his heart. Fear that he is not strong enough to save us, and extraordinary love. The quotes of Tama, the Marai songstress. I'll be honest, I'm not exactly sure what's happening with the relationships of the Marai. The wording that they use in their quotes kinda implies that they are all in love with each other, which, you know, more power to them, but I believe that's just the way they talk to each other. In reality, we kinda don't know who's with whom. The point is, Lodo is not afraid to dive into the abyss with Nami, and thankfully that helped Nami secure the Abyssal Peril. Nami then brings the peril back to her tribe, where she presents it to the Greatmother. And this card basically describes the entire point of getting the Abyssal Peril. The Marai's ancestral home is protected by the celestial light of a moonstone. Every 100 years its light begins to wane, and a new Tidecaller is tasked with finding another. For without it, the Marai people would be plunged into darkness, and fall prey to the horrors that lurk in the depths. A couple of things to mention here. Yes, the light of the moonstone wanes every 100 years. But it doesn't necessarily have to be a new Tidecaller fixing their problems every time. It's just that the Void often claims the Tidecallers, so the Marai are just used to getting a new one every time. But what's interesting is that the description mentions that the Tidecaller has to find a new moonstone, which is not really the case. Yes, they can get a new charged moonstone from the Targonians, but a new moonstone is not what the Tidecaller was supposed to find at the bottom of the abyss. The description is kinda misleading, because the Abyssal Peril is never mentioned. But thankfully that all gets fixed by the end of the story, because there we can see Nami pick up the Abyssal Peril and bring it to what seems to be Targon. I don't know why else the shores would be glowing. And that is the place where she can get a moonstone for it. The description is a conversation between Tama and Lodo. Do you think she's far along in her journey? We can only hope, Tama. I can see her now, beautiful eyes glowing in the light of the moon, the shine of salt water glistening on her scales. This burden, the fate of our people, it should not be hers alone. She's doing her part as we are doing ours, Lodo. All we can do is believe in her and love her with all our hearts. Yeah, from Lodo's testimony, it does seem like Nami and Lodo are partners, but once again, they all love Nami with all their hearts. Regardless, this is where Nami would meet a representative of the moon somewhere on Targon, and they would exchange the Abyssal Peril for a moonstone. And what's really awesome is that in Nami's level up animation, you can actually see the moonstone. And it is visibly different from the Abyssal Peril. So yeah, the original still stands, the Greatmother was just misleading. But that is it for Nami. As I said, she didn't have a lot of new info around her, but it is great to see some of the details surrounding the Marai. How they band together when they are trying to get a new Abyssal Peril. How everyone loves Nami because she's actually saving an entire Marai nation. And how some of the Marai can even have feet. That is kinda a cool twist. So, you know what that means. There is no way Nami won't get a skin with feet. Oh, wait.